Well, promotion and relegation coming to the A-Leagues real soon, potentially. We've got a new plan, which has been outlined here in this new article from Vince Regari of Sydney Morning Herald. So we're going to dive into it right now. And I'll give you guys my thoughts at the end. But the article opens up by saying that A-League clubs have been presented with a plan to facilitate a system of promotion and eventually relegation, which would see the best clubs from the National Second Division slowly introduced into the top tier. Of course, the National Second Division is getting underway next year, 2024. Club executives were recently briefed on the blueprint conceived by the APL, which closely mirrors the way Japan's J League grew from one professional division to three over 21 years. Interesting. Let's see what else it says. According to multiple sources who are familiar with the discussion, the APL told the clubs they were prepared to admit the strongest teams from the second division into the men's A-League on an ongoing basis. And of course, those clubs have to fulfill criteria when it comes to financial stuff and all that kind of thing. Later on in the article, there would be no limit to the number of clubs that could be promoted, but once it reaches a certain number of teams, most likely around 20, which feels like a pretty decent number, the A-League would then split into two leagues, tentatively called A1 League and A2 League. Maybe we can come up with better names than that. I feel like A-League 1 and A-League 2 maybe sounds a little bit better than like A1 and A2. From their teams would be able to go up into A1 or down into A2, but they would be protected from relegation below A2. So you can't get relegated down to the National Second Division, while the second division teams, which meet the criteria, would continue to be promoted into A2, albeit in a staggered fashion, since the A-League is played over summer and the second division is to be played through the winter. So that that's one of the hiccups, unfortunately, that we're just going to have to face as a code. And one possible format could involve teams from A1 and A2 playing separate home and away seasons and an additional single round of matches against teams from the other league, similar to cross-conference structure in the MLS, of course, over in the States, but only those in A1 will be able to contend for the top tier title, which is quite interesting. And then there's this graphic which explains it pretty clearly for us. So this is obviously the current system, no connection from the NPL and the A-League, of course, but we do have the National Second Division, which is set to come in next year, and some expansion teams coming into the A-League. Of course, Canberra and Auckland are the ones that look most likely to be joining the A-League in a couple of years' time. And then, as you can see here, some promotion from the National Second Division, those top teams joining the A-League. And you can see here promotion and relegation between the NPL and National Second Division, which makes sense. And then there's one more slide here, which is sort of the important one. This is potentially what we could see real soon in the A-League. So promotion and relegation in between A1 and A2. But as you can see here, no relegation down into the National Second Division. Best teams promoted up into the A2. And of course, you still have that promotion relegation between the National Second Division and the NPL. What do you guys think of this? I think it's really going to work. You can read the article further on. It explains it a bit more, and I'll make sure to have it linked in the description. But I really like it. There's a lot of tricky things when it comes to promotion relegation. Everyone is like so excited for it and keen for it. And, to have a relegation battle in the A-League would be really exciting. I think this system works because, look, it's going to be tricky for us to implement it, but I think this is a system that makes it work. There's that sort of the disconnect between a lot of these clubs who have so much history and heritage that are playing in the NPL at the moment, and a lot of those teams will be playing in the National Second Division next year. And there's a real separation between those teams and then the A-League teams, and there's some confusion in terms of how would that work, that promotion relegation system would work. And this is a system that's been put forward, and we could potentially see happen. Of course, nothing confirmed yet, absolutely not. But I like it. I think this is something we could see, and then, again, maybe down the line, whether this, shifts into something else, or, it turns into sort of like a full-on, promotion relegation sort of thing that we see, in the UK. I think the main thing, though, the main takeaway for me is that with something like this, we have to keep in mind that the A-League is still very young. The football in this country is still developing in terms of, I guess, our domestic competition. And it's going to take time. And we're still very early on. I mean, I said that this might happen soon, but it might not happen for another 10, 20 years, to be honest. But at least the plan and, the vision is there to create something that's that Australian football fans are really going to buy into. And, not just A-League fans, but all football fans. This will be a football pyramid. There'll be nice and connected. And I think it's something that, that I'm really excited for, and I hope gets implemented real soon. Really interested to see what you guys think, though. What does the general football, fan base in Australia think of this? So drop your comments down below. This is something that requires a lot of discussion and a lot of thought, and careful thought as well too, because it is obviously it's a very big deal to a lot of people, and a lot of people want promotion relegation. We could potentially see it real soon, hopefully. But guys, thanks so much for checking out this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Hit the like button if you want to show support to the channel. My name's Lockie. This is Coastal Football, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.